Virgil, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Good, good. I'm glad to see you're about to be in action here soon. I know you had the setback with rhabdomyolysis. When did you first realize that something was physically wrong?
Well, like a few weeks back, um, but at first I only felt like fatigueness and, just more so my body not really responding like I wanted it to. But, we just kind of attributed that to just being tired that it'll pass soon. But I think we started to notice that there was actually something wrong. It wasn't just fatigue. This maybe like 2 weeks before the fight was supposed to happen. And then my body just kept going downhill and it wasn't getting any better.
Was it like a weight loss thing, a muscle weakness? Kind of describe the effects because I think a lot of people a lot of people haven't heard of it before. I went to the University of Iowa and we had an incident where like half the football team ended up getting it from
Damn.
being overworked. So yeah.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think that so I had been training for that fight since like October because we were supposed to fight in the beginning of the year, like January 2nd almost or something like that. So I had been training since October, and when I trained like pretty hardcore. So I had 6 months of that going on, and I think by the time March just came around, even towards like February, I was feeling like a little tired. It was just too much.
As far as the recovery goes for something like that, was it just inactivity, just taking it easy, rest, or did were you in the hospital? What did that look like?
So I was in the hospital overnight for one day, and they put IVs in me. I had a bunch of IVs, and it was only for one night though that I was hospitalized, and for the rest of the 3 weeks, the doctor told me not to do anything. So I just stayed in my room. I didn't do nothing. I didn't even leave the house.
What ran through your mind when the doctor comes back and diagnoses you with rhabdomyolysis? Are you like, what in the world is that?
And what in the world is that? It's like I've never even heard of that before. When I saw it on the paper, I was like, dude, I can't even say that. But you know what? I'll tell you what. I was kind of happy that it was something, because
Mhm.
if it wasn't anything that they couldn't figure out, then it's just like, fuck, is it just in my head? It would have been even worse for me.
And I was gonna say when you're kind of speculating, I could imagine that a lot of things are running through your mind, like, wow, am I just not with it? Am I like what were all the alternatives that were kind of bouncing around?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, is my body like is my body like did it have enough of it? Am I still gonna be able to continue my boxing career or anything like that? So it's definitely a lot of stuff went through my head.
In order to not have something like that again, have there been any safeguards that you've had to use, or is it just, hey, I just can't train for that kind of extended period of time?
So for this camp, and most likely this camp only, I usually do conditioning before I get to California. I usually do it for like a couple months. I didn't do it just to really like let my body heal from having rhabdo, but I might start doing that again because I don't think I'm gonna have another 6 month camp again. So I should be all right.
I know that you're a young guy, but you're big for the division. A lot of people jump to conclusions saying, okay, he's having a hard time making weight. Did you feel that that was a concern, or was that just not even part of the factor at all?
It wasn't part of it at all. Even with that, I was still doing pretty good at my weight. Uh, there's a video with Ellie said like you can see my face. I was already pretty much down in weight, but it's just that my body just couldn't keep up anymore.
Hmm. Um, you know, you're kind of hitting that point where you're so dangerous, where other than like a mandatory title shot, a lot of guys probably don't want to fight you. Do you feel like you're kind of hit that point where, okay, some guys are maybe avoiding me a little bit at this point?
Um, I wouldn't say avoiding. I mean, there is a lot of things that go into playing boxing. You have what people think they're worth. Um, promotional companies clashing. You have the TV people clashing. You know, there's a lot of things. It's not as simple as, hey, you want to fight? Yeah, let's do it.
Mhm.
It's a lot harder than that. So I understand that part.
Michael McKinson, maybe some people in the US aren't as familiar with him. You've had a long time now to kind of study him. What do you make of him as a fighter, from your assessment of him?
I mean, he's a tricky fighter. He's a southpaw. He likes to lay a lot of traps. Um, I mean, other than that, that's really all I can say. You know, there's not too much on there about him, but we'll be ready.
I know that in the past, maybe we've seen other big name fighters like yourself that have had maybe opponent that wasn't viewed as much of a threat, and then we see them losing. I'm thinking Teofimo Lopez against Cambosos at that point. A lot of people didn't consider that he had a chance. How do you kind of avoid falling into that kind of state of mind that maybe some fighters in the past have fallen into?
Well, I treat every fight like it's a world title fight, and I mean, in that case, it was still being a world title fight. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't go in there thinking I'm gonna blow the guy out. I always treat every fighter with respect. I treat every fighter as if they can beat me. So we just go in there kind of. I go in there thinking I'm the underdog.
Hmm. I know that a lot of boxing fans, are looking at the welterweight division. First of all, it's a stacked division. I think I had a column about it like 8 months ago, talking about how it's probably the most uh, full of depth out of any of the different boxing divisions at this point. It seems like we're kind of all sitting and waiting for things to get cleared up between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Um, is that kind of the ultimate goal? Is thinking like, give me one of those two guys, whoever wins, I want next, or do you keep that out of sight, out of mind?
I mean, it's that's really the ultimate goal. If that's the only way I can get a world title shot, then I'll do it.
Mhm.
My ultimate goal is just to be a world champion in this weight class. That's my goal. Not the ultimate one, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hypothetically, if it came down to you facing the winner of that, hopefully impending matchup, a lot of people are talking November for it. Who do you think you'd be facing if it was down to the winner of those two?
And I mean, as far as I think who's gonna win, I think
Mhm.
Crawford has a slight edge, and just very slight. It's not like a big one where I think he's gonna blow him out or anything like that. I still think Errol can beat him, but I still think it's a really close fight.
Final question, and then I'll let you go. As far as looking at the full spectrum of welterweights, what do you think sets you off apart from some of the others, or what do you do differently than some of the others? Would you say?
Um, I really don't know. It's a hard question. I feel like
Hmm.
I try to pick my shots. I try to exploit their weaknesses a lot more. I try to take away their best punches, so all they have are weaknesses. That's what I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, Virgil, I always appreciate your time. It's good to see you healthy and at full strength. And best of luck against Michael McKinson.
Thank you so much.